In the closet and underpaid. Whatever happened to R&B group B5? Hint, Diddy Dirty Money. The closet is see-through. In all seriousness, we can't say that we didn't see this coming. If you were a kid or teen in the 2000s living in Atlanta, especially, then you're aware of the good old days when R&B group B5 had the girls screaming for joy. At a point in time, Dustin, Patrick, Carnell, Brian, and Kelly were everywhere promoting their Jackson 5 covered single, All I Do. That Disney contract would soon enter the group's lives, and their hopes for global success only heightened as the years went on. However, One Bad Boy Records founder Sean Combs got a hold of their finances via contracts B5 just weren't B5ing like they used to, and those sales decreased more and more until they disappeared into obscurity altogether. So, whatever happened to these five light skinned brothers? And is Diddy responsible? It all started when Sean P. Puff Diddy Daddy Combs' eyes glazed over in dollar signs after coming face to face with what could have been one of the biggest male groups to spawn out of the early 2000s. They had the charisma, the dance moves, and the drive to become the next big thing. However, Diddy and his million business names had other plans. Deriving from St. Petersburg, Florida, the young group of brethren began their music endeavors at an early age. Starting their group in the late 90s, circa 1998, originally called TNT, the boys knew they wanted to become entertainers since childhood, and their mother was actually the one who encouraged your boys to take their craft more seriously. But believe it or not, the group are actually brothers. Not all of them anyway. Dustin, Patrick, Kelly, and Brian are biological siblings, but given how close group member Carnell was with the boys, growing up right along with them since early childhood, the Breedings adopted him, not legally, as one of their own. They grew up with their aunt as well, who also encouraged him to pursue music. TNT, however, consisted of Patrick, Dustin, Kelly, and their cousin Carnell, since Brian was too young to join at the time. Performing as Dynamic Dynamite quadruplets was fun. The guys were young and doing what they loved to do, winning numerous talent competitions in the process. Carnell's mom was said to be a victim of domestic violence, and supposedly his biological father is serving a life sentence for unaliving her. But don't quote us on that. Bio brother or not, the rest of the guys treated Carnell no different. He was their brother, period. After venturing around their hometown and neighboring cities, TNT grew a small fan base and set out to conquer their next mission of getting signed. Relocating to Atlanta, Georgia, they went around auditioning for labels and anyone willing to see what the group had to offer. Some of the talent competitions they'd enter were for the Radio Disney platform, and after winning practically every competition they entered, they were nicknamed the Radio Disney Dancers. TNT would drop that name and pick up B5 after Brian entered the mix. The addition was prompted by Kevin Wells, CEO of Worldwide Entertainment. Inspired by the Jackson 5, B5, short for Breeding 5, with the help of their then manager Jim McMahon, got the opportunity to tour with and be broadcasted in shows along with some of the hottest acts around, ranging from Kanye West, Akon, Genuine, Fantasia, Usher, Chris Brown, Bow Wow, NSYNC, and more. They were getting their feet wet, steadily building their fan base, but not quite at the level they wanted to be at just yet. After being introduced to L.A. Reid, then Jermaine Dupri, it wouldn't be long before B5's fate was in the hands of no other than P. Diddy. I don't know about you, but I just got chills. Jokes aside, now under the ruling of Diddy and Bad Boy Ent, B5 got that push. More like shove they've been waiting for. With the help of producers like Dark Child and Ryan Leslie, their studio debut album, B5, peaked at 19 on the Billboard charts. And from it came their most popular song to date, All I Do, a troop-inspired redemption of the original Jackson 5 track, All I Do Is Think of You, that came out in 2005. The title track was suggested by Dark Child, which ultimately served the group well, as this would become the song most associated with them. It went on to reach number 7 on the R&B hip-hop chart, and with Little Brian now associated with the group, gave them that extra razzle to appeal to not only a young adult teen fan base, but also a kids one. Not like being a full-fledged adult ever stopped the younger crowd from hooting and hollering. By this point, B5's popularity rose more and more, so much so that at a Radio Disney event, the boys caused chaos when fans rushed the stage, resulting in several injuries. The guys were stripped of their shirts, jewelry, keys, S-curl perm kits, you name it. The B5ers were not playing about their 5 future husbands. Their next single, You Got Me, unfortunately wouldn't be as fortunate as their first single. Despite peaking at number 9 on Radio Disney and being 106 in Park's top 10 for weeks, that slow, smooth groove melody of their first single, showcasing them as sweet, hopeless romantics, dissipated by then. The fans wanted sweet and loving, and with You Got Me, they got a more up-tempo bop that screamed every bit of Bad Boy Records. The music video starring a young Logan Browning gave them the chance to showcase their dance abilities and choreograph skills and reminded us why they were nicknamed the Radio Disney Dancers. However, something was missing. Diddy pulled from his days working with Jodeci over at Andre Harrell's Uptown Records to help him come up with B5's second studio album. What did Devontae Swing say in the beginning of Stay? Don't talk, just listen? Yeah, that's it. This time getting production assistance from Brian Michael Cox, Mario Winans, and more. Their song, Hydraulics, was the first to be released. And if you're saying to yourself, I ain't never heard that track before, yeah, neither have we. But it doesn't matter whether or not we've heard it, because the real B5 fans not only requested the song be played on radio stations everywhere, but had the choreography memorized down to a T, giving every inkling of You Got Served realness featuring Bow Wow. The song had all the potential to be a club banger, but unfortunately, this was pre-social media era, and the promotion just wasn't all the way there. Don't Talk, Just Listen, as you'd expect, would be their last album under Bad Boy Records, and the boys couldn't wait to get TF ASAP. A group name change was attempted, deciding on the name Audio, but that just wasn't hitting. Neither was their career. After a few stumbles within the industry, shortly after they would all take a hiatus, going about their solo endeavors, before reuniting in 2013 with their comeback single, Say Yes, now signed to the same label the Jackson 5 were originally signed to, the legendary Motown. With social media now a direct aid to the music industry, Say Yes, along with this music video, garnered some buzz, sitting at 11 million views currently on YouTube's platform. Say Yes was met with positive feedback from fans, but due to differences with the label, their upcoming album would unfortunately never see the light of day. The members took to their socials, blasting Motown as well as their former label, Bad Boy Records. Counter Days Diddy, Brian came out and accused Diddy of having dirty money. I guess Diddy's short-lived group with Don Richards, Diddy Dirty Money, wasn't just a name after all. It was a warning. We made about 99.9% of our income from live performances. Until this day, I haven't seen a penny from our commercial albums. For years, we have reached out to lawyers, advisors, and even TV networks to tell our own story, but no one would touch it with a 10-foot pole. So here I am telling my story, not from a woe is mine perspective, but an example for the next generation of young artists to write and own your own content. Pay It Forward, Dustin's first single off his EP, Different, would be his first single released as a new solo artist. He'd go on to establish his own entertainment company. Following his lead were Patrick and Kelly, with Patrick releasing Here We Are in 2016, and Kelly, who shortened his stage name to Kel, dropping Don't Know How to Dance, also dropping his R&B roots altogether, and focused solely on rap. They'd reunite this time as a trio, with Dustin, Kelly, and Carnell, who went by the name MIB, Men in Black. Dustin and Carnell went on to have little breedings of their own, and shortly after Carnell left the group entirely to focus on his growing family. Fortunately for fans, all 5 members would still come back together in 2018, releasing their song, Do That, building momentum for the release of their 2019 album, New Jacksons. They participated in the beginning stages of what would eventually turn into Millennium Tour along with other acts that spawned out of the 2000s and were met with raving reviews. However, once the tour came to fruition, they were left off the list. Throughout the years, the group has been more than vocal about the downside of the music business. Fun fact, but did you know Kelly actually wrote Get Your Head in the Game for Disney's High School Musical? Did he receive a dime or even a writing credit? Not at all. Dustin segued into acting, appearing in Howard High in 2020, and recently came out of the closet revealing he'd been dating trans woman Dee Smith. Cornell released a musical that same year titled Amethyst, and both he and Brian are both officially off the market. He's a husband, two of them. As of late, no word of a third album has come out. Unfortunately, B5 were victims of the cash grab music industry, here one day and gone the next. But they were part of a moment in history where boy groups were all the rage, yet they fell off due to the decline of the boy group right at the peak of their careers. Their careers may have been stagnant, but they aren't getting calls to appear on TV One's Unsung anytime soon. Were you a fan of B5? Let us know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments, and stay tuned for more true celebrity stories.